So good evening. I'd like to call the Zoning Board of Appeals for Tuesday, January 26, 2021 to order. Will the city call the roll, please?
Yes, Ms. Defoe,
Here.
Ms. Selesny,
Here.
Mr. Wygum,
Here.
Mr. Rogers,
Here.
Mr. Friedman.
Here.
Madam Chairperson, you have a quorum to conduct business.
Thank you. Are there any communications?
Yes, the first item would be the phone number for public comment is 1-415-655-0001 and use access code 179-787-7700. Also, the next comment would be that we're going to have Wayne Wilkins. I think most of you know who he is. Plan reviewer here at the city. He's going to be running this meeting. I'll still be on it, but I need him to get some experience doing this for backup reasons. And the last would be, as our chairperson stated, that we really need to make sure that if you're not speaking, you're muted. We've been having a little bit of trouble with having the minutes done with a little extra noise coming through and the inability to hear who's commenting in that information. So with that, I'll give it back to the chairperson, and then Wayne Wilkins will be completing the rest of the meeting.
Thank you very much, Ted. So I'd like to move into the public hearing. For those that have not joined us before, let me just give a brief explanation of how we conduct business. The city will call the case by the case number, read a short synopsis of the case. Then we ask you as the appellant to step forward and speak up and state your name and address for the record, please. And then explain to us what you're asking for and why. You can, take us as brief or as much time as you'd like at that point. Then we'll turn it back over to the city to read the findings of fact. We'll then ask you to agree or add anything else at that point. We'll open it up for public comment, and then we'll turn it over to the board to deliberate and make a decision on that case, and then we'll move on to the next case. So will the city read or call the first case, please?
Yes. Case number 20-19. The appellant, Dr. Flora Dean, owner, is requesting the following variance from the board. 1, a variance of 69.43 feet of front yard building setback, 75 feet required, 5.57 feet proposed. Number 2, a variance of 7 feet of front yard landscaping width, 15-foot required, 8-foot proposed. The property is located on the east side of Rutland Drive between 8 Mile, West Hampton Roads. The Sidwell parcel number 2436377-015, zoned ERO, Educational Research Office.
Thank you. Good evening. Is the appellant here? I'm not hearing anyone.
Good evening.
Oh, hello.
Hello. My name is David Donnellan. I'm the architect for the project. Dr. Dean is on the phone. I'm not sure if she can get brought into the meeting. She and I are talking by phone, and I know she's listening to us. So I'm here actually. I made her the applicant because she's the owner, but I'm really speaking to the variances as her architect. And in this particular situation, the building is existing. It was purchased from the city's DDA. The front yard setback does not meet, as it currently stands, does not meet front yard setback requirements. And because the use is going to be assisted living rehab, and all of the clientele will have some kind of disability or accident, infirmity that has to be treated. We are proposing to put a canopy along the driveway in front of the building at the front door. And it's really the canopy that's being requested, we're requesting a variance for, because we really need to help the patients get out of the car during Michigan's constantly changing inclement weather. If you don't like the weather in Michigan, wait a half hour, it will change, as they say.
If I could,
So, and that's the reason for the canopy, and because of the use, and in the process, the driveway width to meet the city fire department's requirement must be 20 feet wide, and that leaves only 8 feet for the proposed landscaping. But we will have nice landscaping along Rutland Drive in front of the building. So I give it back to the commissioners to ask me questions and look at our request.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Will the city read the findings of fact, please?
if I can interrupt real quick, this is Ed Gardella. The architect or the gentleman who has spoken is not the appellant. We need the appellant to at least get on the line and introduce herself and say that she's at the meeting, as she is the only one who is authorized. The appellant, Dr. Flora Dean, needs to get on the line and speak, introduce herself, give her address, etc., and then introduce the gentleman who is speaking on behalf for her.
Ed, this is Brianna. I do see Dr. Dean in the list of attendees, but it doesn't give me the option to do anything but expel her. So maybe Wendell could get on the line and give me some direction on how to make her a panelist or make her active.
Brianna, you should be able to right click on her name and make her a panelist, but not if she's called in. That's only if she connects via a computer.
Okay, so all of the other attendees either show them that they called in or that they're on the video, and there's no option here. So I'm going to make the suggestion that Dr. Dean disconnects and tries to log back in to, become active. I don't have that option.
Yes, Dr. Dean.
That's not going to work. You're getting too much of an echo out of that, please. I need the other person to call in like a caller, please.
Brianna, you can mute me for a minute. Dr. Dean.
David, I've unmuted you. Are you ready?
Not quite. They are trying to reboot, get back on through the computer as opposed to the phone. Give me another minute, please.
Okay.
any suggestion? Maybe we should go to the second case while they work on getting us connected.
Let's give them a couple of minutes, and if they can't get it in a couple of minutes, we'll go ahead and move.
Brianna, I think he's ready now.
Brianna? Yes. Ladies of the commission, go ahead to the second item and come back to us. We accept that procedure.
Can I have a motion to table this case?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. And do we want a roll call on this or?
No, I think just a simple aye from all.
Okay,
Right?
and all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Any opposed? Okay, so will the city call the next case, please?
Yes, case number 20-20. The appellant Robert A. Gittinger of Kokosing Industrial Incorporated, leasee, representing the owner, GHG Investments LLC. Owner is requesting the following from the board. Approval of a temporary use permit to allow for the outside storage of 30,000 cubic yards of soil for a period of 1 year to be utilized for a phased construction project off-site. The property is located on the north side of 8 Mile Road between Sherman Avenue and Berg Road. The Sidwell parcel number 2433-376-052, zoned B3, general business.
Thank you. Is the appellant here?
Yes, he is.
Good evening. Would you state your name and address for the record and then explain to us what you're asking for and why?
Robert Gittinger with Kokosing Industrial.
Your address, please.
Second. The address is 20500 Eureka Road, Suite 110, Taylor, Michigan.
Thank you. If you could just explain to us what you're asking for and why, please.
This request is pertaining to a project 2 miles to the west of this site for GLWA, Great Lakes Water Service, which provides water to the plant we'll be working at, provides water to the northwestern Detroit greater area. Our request for use of this site is for temporary storage of soils while we perform work at that project. As part of our work on this site, we'll be bringing the dirt in. We intend on putting up new fence screening around the property to provide for a nicer visual barrier. And once we are done with the project, we'll be restoring the back half to a gravel lot, as it's a gravel asphalt millings kind of lot right now. As was stated prior, it used to be it's zoned for parking. And then the front half of that property to the south there is grass, and then we'll be restoring that in grass. So that is our request.
Okay,
As you can see on the left there, the back half of that property where you see all your black squares, that's where our intended soil storage location will be. And then the front half of that is still the grass area.
Okay, thank you. Will the city read the findings of fact, please?
For ZBA case 20-20, the appellant Robert A. Gittinger of Kokosing Industrial Incorporated, leasee, representing the owner GHG Investments LLC owner, is requesting the following from the board. Approval of a temporary use permit to allow for the outside storage of 30,000 cubic yards of soil for a period of 1 year to be utilized for a phase construction project off-site. The property is located on the north side of 8 Mile Road between Sherman Avenue and Berg Road, Sidwell parcel 2433-376-052, Zone B3 General Business and P Vehicular Parking. Please note this is an edit from the legal notice. The subject property is currently undeveloped, previously utilized for vehicle storage for Glassman Automotive. The property to the north is zoned R1 Single Family Residential and is developed with a single family home fronting Berg Road. The property to the south within the city of Detroit is zoned commercial and is developed with a parking lot. The properties to the east are zoned I1 Industrial, P Vehicular Parking, and B3 General Business and are developed with Lumigen Incorporated and Central Carpet Warehouse. The properties to the west are zoned RM Multiple Family Low Rise and B3 General Business and are developed with Applewood Apartments, a single family home fronting Sherman Avenue, and American Pool Services. The total site contains 3.70 acres of land with 225 feet of frontage on 8 Mile Road and a depth of 816.03 feet. The proposed site plan indicates a 165-foot by 320-foot yard for the temporary storage of 30,000 cubic yards of soil for use in the Great Lakes Water Authority West Service Center Reservoir, Pump House, and Divisional Valve Replacements Project located on East Street, which is a project that obtained ZBA approval for fencing within the front yard, fence height, and permission to use barbed wire as part of ZBA case 20-17 on November 17th, 2020. The piles of soil are proposed at 20 feet in height maximum with a 2-to-1 slope, which has been reviewed by City Engineer Lee Schultz and determined to be a reasonable request. The tree, shrub, and scrub along the property lines will assist in mitigating wind erosion. However, during stockpiling operations, watering may also be necessary to minimize wind erosion further. Once all the material is stockpiled, the mounds will need to be vegetated to minimize wind erosion even further. And a soil erosion permit will be required from engineering, which will allow the site to be monitored by the engineering department staff throughout the duration of the storage. 6-foot tall fencing will screen the stockpile on all 4 sides. The north, east, and west sections of fencing will be located along their respective property lines, and the south section of fencing will be located approximately 300 feet from the south property line along 8 Mile Road. The city is requiring opaque mesh fabric, dark green or black, to be installed on the fencing to serve as visual barrier from adjacent properties. Additionally, there will be a 30-foot setback on all sides between the proposed fencing and the stockpile. The appellant is aware that this temporary use approval is good for 1 year commencing on February 1st, 2021. If the appellant wishes to obtain an additional 1 year approval, 2 years total possible maximum, they must appear back before the board prior to February 1st, 2022.
Great, thank you. Does the appellant agree with those facts, and do you have anything to add at this point?
The appellant agrees with those facts and no additional comments.
Thank you very much. Will the city read this recommendation, please?
Staff's recommendation is to approve with the following conditions. The temporary use approval is good for 1 year from February 1st, 2021. If the appellant wishes to obtain an additional 1 year approval, 2 years total possible maximum, they must appear back before the board prior to February 1st, 2022. The soil storage area may not extend beyond the limits as indicated on the proposed site plan. The site must be restored to its prior condition after conclusion of the soil storage temporary use. Soil piles may not exceed 20 feet in height with a 2-to-1 slope. The appellant must obtain a soil erosion permit through the engineering department. The appellant must water and vegetate the mounds of soil as needed to prevent wind erosion and work with the engineering department appropriately. All fencing must be 6 feet in height with matching gates in accordance with our fence ordinance and covered with either dark green or black opaque mesh to serve as a visual barrier to adjacent properties. Any proposed gates must remain secured off hours, and the appellant is to contact the fire department to determine requirements regarding fire department access. If any complaints are made or issues arise from activity at the site, the The appellant will be required to appear back before this board to discuss how the issues will be mitigated. This recommendation is based upon the following. The proposed temporary use will not adversely affect the character of the area and will not be injurious to the surrounding neighborhood, nor contrary to the spirit and purpose of the zoning ordinance. And the proposed site improvements will provide adequate protection to abutting uses due to the proposed opaque fencing and additional safeguards and conditions that the city is requiring as part of this case.
Thank you. We will now go to public comment. Brianna, is there anyone on the line for public comment on this case, 20-20?
We do not have anyone on the line.
Okay, thank you. We will close public comment and turn it over to the board. Mr. Wygum?
Yeah, I would just like to note that this is in my neighborhood. It's in the Southburg Association. I'm a former president there, so I am concerned. I would like to ask the appellant, what do you plan to do with that front section that is now grassed?
Throughout the duration of the project or once complete?
Throughout the duration of the project.
To remain as is. Our intent is to use, if you can see it on the drawing to the left, the aerial view. If you look at that drawing to the left, our intent is to use the back half of the site. We will not be altering the site. Once we leave, the site will be as it currently is. So it's an in-suit return of the property.
So the grass is just, you're going to drive trucks in and out of there, as I understand it, right?
That's correct. If you, on the left side of the picture, aerial view, you can see a gravel road exists. There's a faint gray gravel road. That's how the parking lot, that's how they used to serve access to the parking lot versus driving through the grass. And there's actually two gates on the frontage of the property, one on the west side and one on the east. And the east has been used less over time. There's actually a drive there too. Our intent is to use the gate on the west. We may have to use the gate on the right, but once we are done with the project, everything will be reseeded on the front half of that property.
In the finding the facts, and of course I know there is a house just in back of that. It is if none of you have ever seen it, it's in development. It is one of the most beautiful structures I've ever seen. And so there is a concern that blowing sand and site obstruction will not be beneficial to them. So I am hoping that you follow through on this vegetation and you get your fences up. This is very important to our neighborhood, and when it comes time, and this is to everybody, when it comes time for the allowing this to go forward, I would like to add something on the back side of the recommendation. I am not opposed to this, but I just want some careful thought put in, and I think the city has, but it needs to be followed. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Friedman?
I don't have any issues with the plan and the recommendations with the condition.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Lesney?
I have no problem with this either. I am wondering what Mr. Wygum has wants to add on, and I'm sure he'll tell us shortly. But it seems like the city has thought through this project, and so far whatever's been presented to us seems fine. And I know that there's already a fence back there, but I'm sure they're going to be adding to it because it doesn't look like it's in great condition. So it remains to be seen what's going to happen, but I'm in favor of the project as it's been stated.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Rogers?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with the stockpiling of the dirt. I find it funny that a 6-foot fence is going to screen off a 20-foot tall pile, but being that it's a temporary use and it's a vacant property and where it's located, I don't have an issue with this at all.
Okay, thank you. I in general agree this is a vacant property that, you know, if the is going to be returned to its same position and probably be sold at that point and hopefully redeveloped in its future. Mr. Wygum, do you want to make a motion and then tell us what your additional thoughts are on it?
Excuse me, before
Oh, sure.
Mr. Wygum continues,
Yes, ma'am.
there is a new call on the line, so I just want to see if it's someone from the public before you guys get into
Sure.
that.
Thank you.
I signed in. My name is Dr. Dean. I finally got through.
Okay, Dr. Dean, I'm going to put you back on mute.
Thank you.
Okay, there's no other calls.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Wygum, will you make a motion for us, please?
Sure. Regarding case 20-20, the appellant Robert Gettinger of Cossing Industries Incorporated, lessee representing the owner, GHG Investments LLC owner, requesting the following from the board. Approval of a temporary use permit to allow for the outside storage of 30,000 cubic yards of soil for a period of 1 year to be utilized for a phased construction project off-site. The location is located on the north side of 8 Mile Road between Sherman Avenue and Berg Road. General business, vehicle parking. Please note that this is an edit. Oops, I don't need to say that. I move that we approve this application with the following conditions. That this temporary use approval is good for 1 year from February 1st, 2021. If the appellant wishes to obtain an additional 1 year approval, 2 years and possible maximum, they must appear before the board prior to February 1st, 2022. The soil storage area may not extend beyond the limits as indicated on the proposed site plan. The site must be restored to its prior condition after conclusion of the soil storage temporary use. Soil piles may not exceed 20 feet in height with a 2-to-1 slope. The appellant must obtain a soil erosion permit through the engineering department. The appellant must water and vegetate the mounds of soil as needed to prevent soil erosion and work with the engineering department appropriately. All fencing must be 6 feet in height with matching gates in accordance with our fence ordinance and covered with either dark green or black opaque mesh to serve as a visual barrier to adjacent properties. Any proposed gates must remain secured off hours, and the appellant is to contact the fire department to determine requirements regarding fire department access. If any complaints are made or issues arise from activities at the site, the appellant will be required to appear back before the board to discuss how the issues will be mitigated. This is based upon the following. The proposed temporary use should not adversely affect the area and should not be injurious to the surrounding neighborhood. 2, the proposed site additions should provide adequate protection of abating use within the proposed opaque sentence and additional safeguards and condition that the city is requiring as part of this case. That's it.
I'll second it.
Thank you very much, Ms. Lesney. Will the city call the roll on this case, please?
Ms. Defoe,
Yes.
Mr. Lesney, Ms. Lesney, Mr. Wygum,
Yes.
Mr. Rogers,
Yes.
Mr. Friedman,
Yes.
Ms. Lesney,
Do you not hear me?
yeah, we got you. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. So Mr. Gettinger, your request is approved, and please work with the engineering department and the building department in order to get all the permits ready to go to get your project off the ground.
Absolutely. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, and don't forget if you want that extension to come back within a year. Okay,
Yep,
thank
will
you.
do.
Have a good night. Okay, so
You
we're
guys
gonna,
too.
thank you. So we're gonna go back to the case. So can I have a motion to take 2019 off the table, please?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Friedman. Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor? Aye.
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 All right. So do we have Dr. Dean on the phone?
Yes, I am.
Hello, good evening. If you could just state your name and address for the record, please.
Yes, my name is Flora, Flora Dean, Dean, 3319 Greenfield Road, number 360, Dearborn, Michigan, 48120.
Thank you very much. And I think what we are looking for from you is to authorize Mr. Donnellan as your representative to speak to this case, please.
Yes, I do authorize him to speak to this case.
Thank you. Is there anything else that you'd like to add? It's not necessary. I just want to offer since we finally got you on the phone.
I apologize for the delay. I mean, I was here the whole time and it was just crazy getting signed in by phone or computer. So I do apologize for the confusion, but I'm glad that I was able to get it straightened out. I've known Mr. Johnson for a long time, so I have confidence and, and I respect his opinion. So I'm fine with him speaking for me.
Okay, thank you very much. If you want to just stay on the phone, or Brianna can mute you, whatever is the preference. So I think Mr. Donnellan, you had given us kind of the background, and you had spoke to it. I think we were ready to move to the city reading the findings of fact. So if the city will read the findings of fact on case 2019, please.
For ZBA case 20-19, the appellant, Dr. Flora Dean, owner, is requesting the following variances from the board. Variance of 69.43 feet of front yard building setback, 75 feet required, 5.57 feet proposed. A variance of 7 feet of front yard landscaping width, 15 feet required, 8 feet proposed. The property is located on the east side of Rutland Drive between 8 Mile and West Hampton Roads, Sidwell parcel 2436-377-015, zoned ERO, Education Research Office. The subject property is developed with a 2-story building, which has been vacant for approximately 15 years. The properties to the north are zoned R2 single-family residential and are developed with single-family homes fronting onto West Hampton. The property to the west is zoned ERO Education Research Office and is developed with the Northway Professional Office Building. The properties to the south and east are zoned ERO Education Research Office and are undeveloped. The site contains 0.95 acres of land with 244 feet of frontage along Rutland and a depth of 170 feet. The existing building is a legal non-conforming structure. The appellant obtained site plan approval on December 13th, 2010 for a senior rehabilitation facility with senior daycare. Because the site plan expired, the appellant was required to reapply for site plan approval, which was then granted by the Southfield City Council on November 30th, 2020. In ZBA case 1036, the Zoning Board of Appeals granted variances of 69.43 feet of front yard building setback and 7 feet of front yard landscaping width on December 21st, 2010. The variances expired after 18 months due to lack of a valid building permit. Therefore, the petitioner is now requesting the same variances and the material facts of the case are unchanged. The proposed site plan, or actually the approved site plan, reflects an entry drop-off canopy on the west side of the building. The drop-off canopy reflected on the approved site plan provides for the safety and convenience of patients visiting the facility. The access drive around the west side of the existing structure, which decreases the front yard landscaping provided, is needed to gain vehicular access to the proposed canopy. Due to the interior layout of the building, the location of the canopy as proposed is optimal as it reduces the hardship of extensive interior and structural alterations to accommodate it being added to either the north or south sides of the building. Either alternate location would also impact the available land for parking and create an adverse impact on the site. Further, it provides an aesthetic design feature on the site using cultured stone piers and steel framing with decorative metal accents, and it will be used as an architectural feature. The existing building is legal non-conforming structure in terms of front yard setback because it is set back 40 feet from the front property line. The current required front yard setback in the ERO Education Research Office zoning district is 75 feet. The proposed canopy extends 34.43 feet into the existing front yard setback, bringing the proposed setback to 5.57 feet.
Okay, thank you. Does the appellant agree with those facts, and do you have anything else to add at this time?
No, we agree with the facts and we have nothing else to add.
Okay, thank you very much. Will the city read the recommendation, please?
Staff's recommendation is that the proposed variances be approved. This recommendation is based upon the following. Reduction of the landscape area will not adversely affect adjacent properties based on the intentional enhancement of the architectural design of the entry canopy. Additional landscape screening has been provided to screen the parking lots, and an existing screen wall is located along the north property line, further separating the property from residential lots along West Hampton. Based on the layout of the floor plan as submitted by the appellant, the location of the entrance canopy as proposed is optimal. Creating the canopied entrance at another location on either the north or south side of the building is impractical and would require major renovation of the existing building's interior. Another location would also create a deficiency in parking in vehicular maneuvering space, thus creating a greater hardship and more adverse impact on the site with the need for additional variances. The drop-off canopy directly provides for the safety and convenience of patients and visitors to the site. The vehicular traffic generated from the proposed use will not have an adverse effect on or be detrimental to the surrounding land uses based on the existing screen wall, which screens adjacent properties to the north, and a left turn only sign, which has been proposed at the northern driveway. ZBA case 10-36, the Zoning Board of Appeals granted the same variances of 69.43 feet of front yard building setback and 7 feet of front yard landscaping width on December 21st, 2010. The variance is expired after 18 months due to lack of a valid building permit, but the material facts of the case are unchanged.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's move to public comment. Brianna, is there anyone on the line besides Dr. Dean?
No, we don't have anyone else on the line.
Okay, we will close public comment and turn it over to the board. Ms. Selesny?
I remember this case very well, and I remember how much thought had gone into it by the appellant. And I don't know why it took so long, but I'm sure there are certain reasons for it. But nonetheless, the thought is the same, and I think it's a very reasonable use of the space and something that's fits into the plans of the city of Southfield.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Wygum?
Yes. Myra reminded me of this case and back, and then only Myra and I are still on the board. I was chairman at the time. I wanted to ask, I want to make a comment that the building itself, the exterior is still very nice. It almost looks new. It does have a number on the front, which we didn't put in our memorandum in the finding of fact. It's 20830, the building itself. It does have it on the front door, hard to see. I wanted to ask the appellant, have you started the renovation inside? Have you done anything inside?
Yes, I have an answer for that. Dr. Dean had teamed up with a contractor partner in 2015, and a good portion of the interior has been renovated. Some walls have been installed, some rough mechanical has been installed, some rough electrical has been installed, some rough plumbing. He did complete the exterior finishes that you see, and that's why the building is looking very good, because the exterior finishes were well done. At this point, we're ready to get the site improvements approved by engineering so that we can start the site engineering, and we're currently going to proceed to finish the interior renovations through the building department.
All right, I peeked through a window and it looked like you still got a lot of work to do.
Well,
but
there's a big difference between rough and finished.
Yes, that was rough. I saw 2x4s leaning against the walls and the ladders and et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, I have no problem with this now as I didn't back in 2010, and I can only wish you well on your project.
Thank you.
Mr. Rogers?
Yeah, I'm happy to see that this site is going to finally come to fruition for being in use. I'm hoping that a lot more of the vacant and unused sites along 8 Mile Road and that corridor will also follow suit in time. I don't think there's any problem with putting a canopy where they're locating it. I think it's necessary, actually, to make it a viable in and out egress. And I'm glad that they're doing this, and I approve of such a thing.
Thank you. Mr. Friedman?
Like Mr. Rogers, I'm very happy to see an unused building move toward being used. And, as Mr. Weigum and Ms. Leslie said, I've looked over the case, and all the reasons that they approved the waiver in the first place still stand. So I approve of this.
Great, thank you. I agree. I don't have a problem with the canopy or the landscaping request. I do wonder if you have a timeline on the project, and if you think you'll be able to meet the requirements of getting the permits and such in within the time frame this time.
Yes, we will be able to get the permits within the time frame. I've already had discussions with the plan reviewer for this project. The actual renovation plans have been submitted, waiting for the Zoning Board of Appeals and one other site condition to be approved. He's reviewing those plans right now. I anticipate they will be ready in a couple of weeks for us to proceed with the renovations. And we're looking to complete this job. I know that the owner, Dr. Dean, is very ambitious, thinks it's going to get done in 2 months. I say that carefully, but I think it'll be done by the September, October timeframe.
And then is there requirements to open the kind of business that you want to open, or will you be able to open immediately?
Oh, we'll be able to open immediately.
Okay.
She already has some clients that would be utilizing the facility as soon as it's opened.
Oh, okay. Okay, great. Mr. Friedman, would you make a motion for us?
Sure. The appellant, Flora Dean, owner, is requesting the following variances of the board: a variance of 69.43 feet of front yard building setback, 75 feet required, 5.57 proposed, and a variance of 7 feet of front yard landscaping with 15 required, 8 feet proposed. The property is located on the east side of Rutland Drive between 8 Mile and West Hampton Road, Sidwell parcel 24363777015, and zoned ERO, Education Resource Office. I move that we approve the variances requested for the following reasons: that the reduction in the landscaping area won't adversely affect adjacent properties, and the layout of the floor plan is submitted, and the location of the entry canopy as proposed is optimal, and the canopy really wouldn't work in any other location, and that the drop-off canopy directly provides for the safety and convenience of the patients and visitors to the site. The vehicular traffic generated for the proposed use will not have an adverse effect or be detrimental to the surrounding land uses based on existing screening wall. And in a prior ZBA case, case number 10-36, the Zoning Board of Appeals have granted the same waivers, and the material facts are still the same.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
May I make a suggestion before we have the second?
Sure.
I have a problem with the recommendations that the staff puts together when they say will. It will not have an adverse effect. We don't know that. Will should be changed to should. Should not adversely affect. And as he said down below, should.
Okay. Thank you. No, I understand. Yeah, understand your position. I'm sure the staff hears it. So understood. Well, can we have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Will the city call the roll, please?
Ms. Defoe,
Yes.
Selesny,
I approve.
Mr. Weigum,
Yes.
Mr. Rogers,
I approve.
Mr. Friedman.
Yes.
All right, your request is granted. Good luck with your project. We look forward to seeing it open and operational. Good luck.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, a second time. Have a good evening.
You too.
Thank you all.
Bye now.
Okay, so it looks like we have a couple set of minutes to move on to. First one's being from August 18th of 2020. Does anyone have any comments or changes?
I have a question.
Sure.
On page 12, line 15, I didn't quite understand what it meant. I'm going there now. Page 12. I overstepped my bounds here.
I agree with you, Myra. That's the one I found too.
Okay, it says, Mr. Bass said no. Actually, I talked to her the other day and she was wondering why it was taking so long, and I told her we were occupancy. She was fine with that. I wasn't quite sure what that meant.
Neither did I.
Yeah, I agree too. I think we're gonna have to find out from, I don't think any of us can kind of guess. The sign there, the east side of the house toppled over on us. Yeah, I don't see anything that makes any sense to me. We may have to re-listen to that portion and bring it back to you if we can't figure it out.
Can we approve the rest of it except for that one section?
Not unless you got something to fill in there.
I don't know. That's the one I wasn't at. Although I remember having heard other sessions about this case the previous time. So I'm not sure. I hate to have you redo these entire minutes just for that one part.
I mean, it seems like, Mr. Weigum, you were asking, Ed, the neighbors to the east, were there any concerns? And I think that's in regards to, the moving the bedrooms closer to the property line. And he says he talked to her, and my guess is I told her we were, working on, this process is probably like working on occupancy with the city, right? I mean, people use incorrect words all the time. It's not to say he didn't use that word. I think he's probably saying I was working on, getting approvals from the city. So.
Well, I don't think it really, I mean, you could almost leave it the way it was, and I don't think it really affects the outcome. of the case, nor does it really, it's really not explaining much of anything other than him saying, you know, you also have an inaudible part in there that the east side of the house toppled over.
Right.
The question that was asked of him is answered. I agree.
Yeah, I don't really think it adds anything to it. I think that you could almost leave it just the way it is, to be honest.
Also, it seems to me that the part that we don't understand had nothing to do with this particular property. It was some comments to the neighbor.
Yeah,
I agree.
I would suggest just taking out occupancy and putting in audible.
that would be, if that's what you want to do, put that in as one of your changes.
That's what I would recommend.
Okay, that's fine with me. Anybody else have any opinions?
No opinion.
Okay.
That's fine with me too.
Okay, so we will make a change on page 12, line 15, to remove the word occupancy and list inaudible. And then with that change, does anybody else have anything else? Okay, can I have a motion to approve with that one change?
So
I move that we,
Oh, sorry.
Second. I second.
Okay, so moved by Ms. Selesny, seconded by Mr. Wygum. Can I have a roll call, please, for these minutes for August 18th?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
Mr. Fall,
Yes.
Ms. Selesny,
Yes.
Mr. Wygum,
Yes.
Mr. Rogers,
Yes.
Mr. Friedman.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So let's move on to the minutes for September 15th. Any comments or changes on these?
Have any changes or comments?
Okay. Anyone else?
I found it to be very, very well done.
Great. Okay, can I have a motion to approve the minutes for September 15th, 2020?
I so move.
Thank you, Mr. Wygum. Can I have a second?
I second.
Thank you, was that Mr. Friedman?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Can the city call the roll on the minutes for September 15th, please?
Yes, Mr. Fall,
Yes.
Ms. Selesny, Mr. Wygum,
Yes.
Mr. Rogers,
Yes.
Mr. Friedman,
Yes.
Ms. Selesny,
One more time.
I get 2 votes.
All right, thank you. So those are approved. We have a meeting on February 16th. Who has information on those cases for us?
there'll be 2 commercial cases, one on West 8 Mile, one on Telegraph.
Okay. And is there any miscellaneous for the board?
Yeah, just one comment, as I made before, that I would ask the staff to take out the wills when we don't know it and replace them with should. And I also, and this is my own, I don't know if anybody else, when we stick in there that this is in the spirit and this is why we do it, you know, we're the ones that making the decision, and it's whether it's someone says it's in the spirit of the zoning board or not, to me it's irrelevant. That's my opinion.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else have anything? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Wait, if I might,
yeah.
just really quick, I'm sorry, if I might, through the chair to Mr. Wygum and the board, some of that language is taken directly from the zoning ordinance, especially as it relates to the temporary use provisions and requirements. So a lot of that language I'm reiterating specifically from the zoning ordinance.
Well, I would hope that you would take out the wills, because we don't know that.
Noted.
Okay, thank you. Can I have a motion to adjourn, please?
Mr. Wygum makes a motion that we adjourn. And by the way, Wayne, you did a good job. I like your voice.
Thank you. Can I have a second to adjourn, please?
Sure, I second it.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, have a good night, everyone.